Oh my God, I think I'll be introing y'all to death. Good evening, Lit Lane Jury Box. Welcome back to the box here on Trial Watch with Demetra, where we've been going really, really strong for 2025, the relaunch of this channel. We have been going, we have not skipped a beat. We pretty much been doing 2 lives a day, Monday through Thursday, and I'm loving it. Okay, living. Hey, Lady Steph. What's up, Jill's Comfort Zone? We've been going, and we're gonna keep on pushing. Hey, BA Sag, Jatera, it's good to see you. Let me pull up this live. You guys know we do 2 different trials. We've been doing 2 different trials, a daytime trial and a nighttime trial. The nighttime trial, we're a little bit more laid back, and we're watching a big trial, a long trial, the best of moments, what was dubbed the burn pile trial. I'm trying to put it up here. Let me stop talking for half a second and just go ahead and be about the business of pulling this up. Let's do that. Then I can get back to talking. I hope you guys had a terrific day. As for me, I had a wonderful day today. It wasn't, mainly just in the trial watch today. Then did some things around the house in between the split shift. Okay. So what we've been indulging in. Welcome back, Silky Black. You're on time. We're very serious about this trial life. We're very serious about this trial life. Exactly, living. I was just telling Pretty Eye Shanny, y'all know her. She come in the chat, my friend in real life here. And she was like, well, tell me what's going on with that trial y'all been watching at night, because I was lost. And so I tried to give her the rundown on this trial. So she'll be peeping her head up in here. This is the burn pile. State of Georgia versus Melody Farris. Melody Farris is being charged and accused of kidnapping her husband, Gary Farris. Around between the dates of July 3rd and July 5th, I think it's 2019. The family, this is the matriarch, the victim, who was unalived. He was unalived by what they say was 1 shot to the ribs. And then after that shot, that fatal shot, I'm assuming the fatal shot, his body was placed on a burn pile on the property. It had a large, sprawling property. The victim, Gary Farris, was a prominent, affluent attorney there in a city. He afforded himself and his big family a good life. Even though he had 4 adult children in there that you see on the second line, Chris, Scott, Emily, and Amanda, come to find out as we get through this trial, it seemed like Big Daddy, Gary, that's what they called him, was still footing a lot of the bills for his adult kids. Him and Melody are defended there at the top right, the matriarch of the family. I think I call him the matriarch, and he's a patriarch. But anywho, they had been married for 38 years by the time he was unalived. The marriage was one of, I would say, convenience, but it was a troubled marriage. Okay. They was living what they keep referring to as separate lives. In a ranch-style home, he lived downstairs in a very luxurious basement, and she lived upstairs. She had been having affairs and long-term affairs throughout their marriage. Apparently, he knew about them and was long-suffering. But we also heard hints of the fact that he had some extramarital affairs himself. The name Angela Phillips was dropped in. Now, we haven't heard much about Angela Phillips, but we do know at some point in this trial, she's going to take the stand and admit to have had an affair with Mr. Farris. So both sides was guilty of infidelities. This trial has proven to be quite the whodunit. Okay? Quite the whodunit, because Melody Farris, in this case, she's not only pleading not guilty, she's pleading not guilty that she didn't have anything to do with it and that she's not guilty of any of it. And the defense is doing its absolute best, and a good job, let me tell it, of creating reasonable doubt. On the stand tonight, we are continuing with the testimony of this second son with the shades, Cool Mo D there, Scott Farris, the second oldest, the youngest son. In case you didn't know, we watched the sentencing because this case has been tried. She has been found guilty. Sorry for the spoiler, okay? But in the sentencing hearing, Melody Farris straight up, no doubt, no hesitation, turned around and looked him in his eye and accused her second oldest and her second son, Scott, of having done the act of unaliving his father. So get comfortable, you guys. We're here for a couple of hours. We're about to get right back into this testimony. I thank you guys for coming in. Make sure you hit the like button if you're a new subscriber here on Trial Watch with Demetra. Thank you for coming through and supporting this content. Please hit the bell so you can get the notifications. Check out the playlist if you missed the part or want to get caught up, or even if you want to revisit something, some testimony. This playlist is called the Burn Pile playlist. Okay. All right. I think I did a pretty decent recap there. I think I did. Let me take this picture down. Let's see. Okay. Boom. Okay. Let's see. And we are officially back into the best of Trial Watch, Burn Pile.
Going to the military.
That is
graduating high school.
Yeah, majority of it, yes. I was living under the roof.
So tell me about what was the status of your parents' marriage back then? Actually, what was it like when you were growing up? Was it were they loving?
So welcome back, seemed like a very happy, normal family. I mean, I don't have any, especially don't have any memories of us living in Birmingham of any conflict whatsoever. And even after we moved to Atlanta or Alpharetta, it was several years. Didn't notice.
I think I might have rewinded it too far back. But
I started hearing rumors from kids in the neighborhoods about my parents.
Okay. But prior to that, no issues.
No, not that I remember.
So after high school, you're living at home. Were you noticing any issues, or was it still just?
Okay, so I definitely got it back a little bit too far back. I actually supposed to have the timestamp here. I'm supposed to have the timestamp. A moment. Let me just try to flick through it. Let me see. Because they was actually last night we was leaving off right at the weekend of.
I really needing helicopter mechanics, but I didn't want to turn wrenches. I wanted to be infantry.
Yeah, we way past all this.
Selling cars. So I worked for Nally Acura out by Dobbins Air Force Base.
You passed this part too.
Okay.
And I worked there until Nally opened up a Toyota dealership on how I'm still to this day.
And say, never mind, I won't go because all we do is work. That's you, right? In uppercase. What are you talking about right there?
Oh, I don't think we went that far. Hold on, y'all. Let me just wait till the timestamp thing open up. Let me be patient. B.A. Sagittarius say, and don't forget that we learned that the daddy is messy as hell. The daddy, and the reason why B.A. Sagittarius say that, because the daddy seems to do a lot of talking about bad mouthing the mom to these adult children. And apparently he started doing that bad mouthing of her as, when they were younger. And I think that's directly related to the fact that she was the one to have the first known affair. Okay, here you go. I got the timestamp. 6 hour. No, I didn't take the timestamp from last night because we in day 5. 6 hour, 18 minute mark. No. Okay. Oh my gosh.
I do remember that, I had to explain that she kept taking the credit card from me and going buying stuff. So he didn't want her spending the money like she was.
We'll just start from here unless we find out it's too far back.
Get that other account. He gave me the card. And so if I needed to go get fertilizer or anything like that, or, get stuff to make dinner, I just send them a text, but hey, put money in the account and, I'll go do this. And, like, you're not showing the other text messages that went along with it. Like the last one, it would have said, hamburgers or something like that.
And everybody knows I'm pretty slow, but if we sat here and went through every text message between you and your dad for 5 or 6 years, we'd be here for a really long time. So we're trying to move this along as quickly as we can, but I'm going to give the jury every bit of those text messages. Here's what I need to know right now. He says to you in this text message, again, wait now.
Oh, wait. We had not gotten to this at all with the cross-examination. Oh, no, wait a minute. Even though the cross-examination is way more interesting than the regular one, but we really do need to hear him account for the day they found the body, because he's the one who found the body. He's the one who claimed to have been able to recognize burnt up bodies because of his time in the service. Hold on. Okay, here we go. I am so sorry, y'all. I did not get the timestamp. Oh my gosh. Y'all gonna have to start writing me up for stuff. Hold on.
If I saw him up at the barn, I was like, no, I was just up there. I didn't see him. And, I said, the RTV's here. He's not going to walk up to the barn. He's going to drive that.
Child, we just
like, he's got to be here.
Kendra.
And
thank you.
Man, all that from that day, that conversation is, I don't remember every single detail of those, what was asked and where,
How do you remember how long y'all stood there and just talked about it before you did anything?
No, I didn't keep time of it, but it seemed like a good 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, trying to figure out where he could have gone.
Was there any panic or any type of high energy or anybody trying to do something really quick, or what was the mood of everybody at that time?
At that time, I didn't notice anybody panicking. I started to, get worried because I was worried that, I hope something didn't happen to him, that where he had like a heart attack or something. But I do know I was, after I asked her if the CPAP machine was still here, and she said, I haven't checked.
Hey, Miss Step 219.
And I went down to the basement and checked to see if the CPAP machine was there, and it was still sitting beside his bed. I think also before I went down, we discussed about if he could have gone, shooting with a client, either skeet shooting or bird hunting.
Did he do that a lot?
He would do that at, not a lot, but at least, once or twice a year.
When it comes to your dad just leaving, going somewhere, not really telling anybody, in the last 6 months, how many times do you think he had done that? Up to the 6 months before this?
Leave and not tell anybody?
Right.
Well, he always told me, especially if Melody wasn't there, if she's gone up in Tennessee, he would, let me know, hey, I'm going to be coming home late, or, I got, this work event or something like that.
How many times in the previous 6 months up to this day did your dad go somewhere like that? I'm trying to get a feel for how many times he would just go somewhere and not be at the house.
I really don't remember, because he didn't leave. He didn't do stuff like that much. He literally went to work all the time and came home every single day. So it wasn't often that he did that.
Would it be less than 5, less than 10, less than 20?
Less than 5 times, if anything.
And how long would he be gone if he did leave?
I know occasionally he went to go, see his mother, who was in a assisted living or, nursing home type deal.
When he left, would he take an Uber?
No, he always drove his own vehicle.
So his vehicle would be with him if he left?
Yes.
Did he exclusively drive that Mercedes and not the Toyota or anything like that?
No, the Mercedes was his vehicle.
And when he left, would he take a CPAP machine?
If he was going to be gone overnight, yes, he would have taken a CPAP.
The one that was beside the bed, that would be missing?
Yes, sir.
Did you ask your mom when the last time she had seen your dad when you're sitting there on the porch talking?
I believe I did. I mean,
You remember when she said last time she saw him?
I want to say she would have said on the 3rd.
On the 3rd. Did you ask her whether or not he had come and got something to eat, or she made food for him, or anything like that?
Like I said, I don't remember every single detail of that, but that probably I would have asked that question because my dad texts me all the time about getting food.
See whether or not your dad had gone one of the previous nights to go get something to eat from somewhere or anything like that.
I don't remember anything of that.
At some point, your dad's wallet appeared. Is that right?
Yes.
And that to you, was that odd?
So I know prior to that, my dad would never leave the house, without his wallet. So I think I asked, at some point, it's like, well, have you seen his wallet? Because it's like a process of elimination. I think the first thing anybody would ask is, well, is the wallet still here? And then she said, no, I haven't seen it. There was only one place my dad ever would have left his wallet.
Where's that?
And that would have been on the dresser in the master bedroom. Because he still used the master bedroom. He slept downstairs, but, he showered and changed and everything upstairs in the master bathroom.
Did the defendant ever have his wallet on this day?
So I remember her asking if she's seen his wallet. She said no and all. And then, I started asking about like the CPAP machine. And then I said, I'll go check, see if that's down there. I'll see if the shotgun, the shotgun he would have used to go bird hunting or skeet shooting is, down there. Cause it was both in the same room. And just, I found it odd that she didn't ask, she didn't go check to see if the CPAP machine was there.
Do you remember whether or not she said do you remember whether or not she brought the wallet or had the wallet at all?
So I remember after going down and checking on that, I came back up and she had his wallet in his hand. And I said, where'd you find that? And she said it was in his console of his Mercedes. And that really struck me odd because my dad never left his wallet in the Mercedes.
Why is that?
Because he just always had it in his pocket. He never.
I talked about you earlier.
It was a habit of him. He never left it. I have a habit of leaving mine, but he never did.
Your dad's wallet, this one we're talking about?
Yes, sir. That's it.
So it would be either on him or where again?
It would have been on the dresser in the bedroom, right next to the door that leads into the master bathroom.
Was it common for your dad to let your mom have the wallet?
He would never hand it to her, but he didn't, lock it up and secure it.
Talking about the two cell phones of your mom, did you tell law enforcement about the two cell phones?
Yes.
Did your mom ever mention anything to you about the cell phone was Sherry's cell phone?
I do not ever remember that, no.
Tell the jury, all right, you're on the front porch, this is going on. Do you ever get kind of perturbed or upset with your mom or ask her why she hasn't done certain things? Do y'all start talking about, what have you done or why have you done these things?
I probably would have, said when I asked about the CPAP machine, I go, why wouldn't you go check that? That's a big thing. If he was going to be gone overnight, he was going to be taking that.
Where all did you go look again? Where'd you start looking? Where'd you go from there? Let's start in the house. Where all in the house did you go?
I believe I went into first the master bedroom to check to see if his wallet was there. And then I think I left from there and went down to the basement and checked for his CPAP machine and see if the shotgun was sitting in the closet.
Didn't see any signs of him or anything in the house?
No, sir.
Did anybody start helping you look for your father?
Once I know Chris arrived at some point. I don't really remember when he did, but after going down into the basement and checking that stuff, I came back up and said, yeah, everything's still down there. I said, I'll go over here. I'll go back up to the barn and check around there. So I started searching the property because, like I said, at this point, I was worried that, he would have gone out and, had a heart attack or something, or fell down, something like that, medical wise.
Do you know where your mom and Amanda, your sister, what they were doing while you were looking for your dad?
I just know they were together pretty much the whole entire time.
Did anybody get on the RTV and start running around looking for him?
I know I jumped on it to ride back up to the barn to check, see if he might have been up around there. And, once I checked up around the house and all, I noticed the tractor was parked not where we would have parked it for, overnight. And I actually went down and checked around there because I saw the tractor sitting there and it was right at the manure pile. And so I checked around the manure pile to make sure he wasn't laying down around that.
You see on your screen there, Stewart 12, this is a photograph's already been admitted. Is this where you found the tractor?
Yes, sir, it was.
Now, the manure pile.
And somebody asked about that. There go the tractor.
Yes, sir.
Was there anything, was that odd that the tractor was parked there?
Yeah, because it never would have been really left there. The only time we would have brought it down there is to churn over the manure pile because it was, compost.
Not, you mean turn it over, not just push the pile, but actually turn it over?
You mean we'll go scoop it, kind of toss in a salad.
But not leave, you wouldn't leave the tractor right there? Would your dad leave the tractor right there?
No.
Would the tractor be parked where I'm pointing up here?
Yes, right behind that blue wheelbarrow.
After you saw the tractor and you were down the bar, where did you go?
So I've continued to, search around there. Didn't see him there or inside the barn. So I hopped back on the RTV and went back around to the house. And once again, I still don't remember if Chris was there or not. And I really don't remember where Amanda and Melody were standing at that moment. But I just started searching, around the other shed where the chicken coop was, looked in the shed, make sure he wasn't in there. I was just, starting my process of checking the property.
How much of the property do you think everyone covered looking for your dad?
Man, I believe every, square foot of the property was covered.
Did you check the front property too, the fields and pastures and things like that, or where all did you go?
I mean, yeah, I'll look, man, it's all wide open, so there's no grass. I always had the grass cut at that time, so it wasn't tall. So if he was laying in the pasture, I would have been able to see him.
When your dad was making the burn pile or stacking it or working on it, where would the RTV usually be if he was out there doing something like that?
Within, 5 to 10 feet of that burn pile.
And where would your dad normally park the RTV in relation to his where he was staying in the basement?
So if he went to his office, it would have been, kind of parked right up there next to the house, or he'd just hop off and only take a few steps to get into his office.
Do you remember your mom saying anything about whether or not she moved the RTV?
No, I don't really remember.
Did you find anything odd about the RTV or anything like that? Or
no, not with the RTV. I mean, like I said, I saw it parked in the driveway when I got there, and that was, one indication. I was like, well, he's got to be here.
Talking about your tractor, is it difficult to drive that?
Absolutely not.
How do you make the tractor go forward, and how do you make it go backwards?
So that tractor right there, one of the reasons why my dad wanted to purchase that is because it was so easy to drive. You didn't have to shift gears or anything like that. So the pedal on it is like a C. So you would hit on the top part of it and it will go forward, and you hit on the bottom part of it and it will go in reverse.
This is Shaw 259. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Tell the jury how it worked. If you put your foot on that pedal there on the right, there, top kind of middle of the photograph, how would that work?
So you can see the bigger, foot pedal right there.
Yes.
Yes, that's where you would push, and the tractor will go forward.
And if you want to go backwards,
You hit on that section.
you don't have to change gears or anything like that, or have two transmissions or anything.
No.
Did you know if your mom could drive the tractor?
Oh yeah, she definitely knew how to use it. She was using it just a couple days prior to the 3rd.
In relation to the burn pile where you've marked, did you ever go up that area and look at the trail camera or anything like that?
Yeah, so actually it was Melody who asked me when we were, I don't remember exactly when, but it was still, we were either back on the front porch, but she asked me, she asked if I still had that trail camera down there. I was like, oh yeah, let me, I'll go check it. So I don't remember if I hopped on the RTV or I walked down there, but I went down there and checked the trail camera and saw no indication of my dad being on it.
What'd you do with the trail camera while you were there?
I checked whatever pictures were on it. I know there might have been a couple of animals. I want to say I saw a picture of Amanda and Melody walking, but it was mainly animals, but I saw no indication of my dad walking by or anybody who didn't, was in my family.
Did you see anything suspicious on it?
No.
Did you delete the things off the camera?
I did, because it's just, natural habit. This, like I said, this is prior to us discovering my dad's remains. So every single time I ever went to go check my trail camera, I always delete, just kind of free up the SD card, because I use it for deer hunting. And, if I have a doe walking by, I'm not going to, want to save it. I want to save, whatever bucks.
And the camera, again, was pointing down into the woods away from the burn pile?
Yes, it was pointing towards my neighbor's property.
How long, we'll ask you about finding your father's remains. How long do you think you were looking before you went to the burn pile? Did y'all walk by before? Did you get close to it before? Or?
Well, I had to go by it to go down there and check the trail camera. I didn't even think to look at the fire. Didn't even cross my mind. And I know I came back up and let them know there was nothing on it. And then I said, well, I'm going to go and, check on the other side of the pond, walk across the dam and go check down over there on that side of the property. Because it was rare if he did it, but he did it every once in a while. He would go on that section of the property because it was a little tight to drive the RTV down there.
Now this is Shaw 2 here, and this is the burn pile we're talking about.
Yes.
At some point, ultimately, you did find the remains of your father, is that right?
Yes. How I found it, like I said, I was going to check the other side of the pond, across the dam. And I started walking that way, and I believe I got either halfway across the dam or got to the other side, and then Melody called me. And she called me and asked, have you thrown a dead goat on the burn pile? I'm like, no, we haven't had anything to die, and also I wouldn't throw it on the burn pile. And she said, well, come up here and look at this. So I was like, okay. Well, I turned around and started walking, and I see Amanda walking. She was almost kind of like right in front of my dad's office, coming from the burn pile area, walking back up towards the driveway. She was walking there, and Melody was standing over near the burn pile. And I walk up and look, and I can already start seeing bones. And then I look down, and it appeared to me that it was the inside of a skull. The backside was gone. And you could see like the little blood vessels, I think it was, but it didn't look like. So I grabbed a very, very small corner of it, and I lifted it up just enough to where I saw teeth and the eye socket, and I immediately put it right back. And, I was crouched down, and she was standing right there next to me. And I raise up, I put my hand on, across her chest and push her back and go, these are human remains. I am calling 911 right now. Nobody's allowed down here. And at that same time, that's when I noticed Chris was there, and he was coming around the back side of the house with the girls on the RTV. And I walked right up to him, and I said, get those girls out of here right now. I'm calling 911. And I pretty much, my brother would have argued or, with me on anything like that. And I believe just the look on my face and everything, he didn't second question me. He's like, okay. And he turned around and pulled off with the girls, and I called 911.
Welcome back, Unbothered.
When you call 911, do you even remember what you said to them?
I believe that, they called and they asked, did the normal routine, and said, hey, I was like, it was along the lines of, we've been searching for my dad. And after searching, we came across some remains in a burn pile. And I said, I was deployed to Iraq. I've seen bodies burned up. And it's like, this definitely looks like a burned up body.
No worries.
We need somebody out here now.
Were you thinking it was your dad?
Pretty much by that point, yeah, because there was nobody else who it could have been. And my dad was missing. I mean, my dad didn't have any enemies. There was nobody who, we never really had strangers walking across our property. Never once that I've ever catch anybody on our property. So it was within an instant, I knew that this was 99% sure this was my dad.
After you called 911, what'd you do?
I remember I got off the phone with them, and I walked up to the driveway. I don't remember if I went on the back side of the house or the pond side of the house, but I came back up to the driveway, and Amanda was standing there in the driveway. And I walked up to her and said, Amanda, this is not good. She's like, what are you talking about? I go, there's human remains in that burn pile. I've called 911. The police are on their way. But I was like, Amanda, this is not good. And she just kept saying, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And that's all I remember telling her that. And then I don't remember who I let know, but I said, I'm going to go meet, who's ever coming up at the driveway, at the road, so they know where to exactly come to. And I started to walk up towards the road.
What was Amanda like at this time?
At that time, once I told her about finding the remains, that's when you know, with somebody who act like, you know, they just found out something bad happened, especially to a loved one. It was kind of like she was shaking and, you know, like I said, she's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? And like almost in tears.
What was your mom doing?
As in what?
How was she acting? What was she doing? What'd you see?
Never saw any kind of emotion out of her.
Did you see
She didn't get angry with anybody, and she showed no. I didn't notice any of her freaking out or anything like that. The only time that I saw her actually try to kind of show some emotion is after the deputy and the paramedic came back up from the burn pile to say, yes, those are human remains. And then just the way that she started acting, I've seen my mother cry. I mean, hundreds of times throughout my life and all. And it appeared to me to be fake. Like, this wasn't her emotion. Her reaction to finding out her, you know, mom had a heart attack and her dad dying and, you know, anything bad happened like that. It was a complete different reaction to what she reacted to when the paramedic and deputy said, yes, those were human remains.
Up until that point, has she cried or anything?
No.
Did she come up to you and ask you a lot of questions or anything?
When?
Before, after finding the remains and before law enforcement got there, was she asking you questions or saying anything to anybody?
I really don't remember, because after, you know, I talked to Amanda, because I was heading in that direction. I knew I was going to meet them at the end of the driveway up at the road. And that's where I saw Amanda, and I let Amanda know. After I let Amanda know, I continued walking down the driveway to go meet either the police or paramedics that were coming. So I walked up to the end of the road, and from there, no, I don't remember her ever talking to me during that time.
At some point, did your feelings change or suspicion arise about something's afoot here?
I knew I felt something was very off. There was red flags prior to finding my dad. Her having his wallet. I remember at one point, she said that she had the credit card that the one my dad gave me and said, never, hold on to this like your life depended on it. Because there was a lot of times my dad said, don't ever give her the credit card. And she had it. And I remember asking her, I go, how do you have this? She goes, well, your father gave it to me. And I knew that was a straight up lie. I mean, y'all have seen it in the text messages that he, said for me to hold on to that credit card.
Did you start talking about a gun?
So
a pistol.
So prior to all this happening, I want to say it was in June. I don't remember. It was like the first week of June or the second week of June. We had an AT&T guy come out and do some work with the satellites and all. There was an issue or something. And Melody was gone. She was in Tennessee. And my dad had to go to work. He sent me a text one morning and said, hey, the guys are coming today. I want you to come over here and I'll show you what's going on. So when they got there, we were working down in the basement. The TV that's in front of the leather chair and all, because right next to it is a closet that actually had the main satellite box, and a lot of those components in there was the home theater components, but the main box for the satellite was in that closet. But he said he needed the remote to the TV in the in the basement room right there in front of the bar area. So I started searching the drawers because we only use the satellite remote to turn on and off the TV, but he needed the actual TV remote. So I started searching the drawers and the furniture around in that room. First checked under the TV, didn't see it in there. And then there was a piece of furniture behind the couch, and I opened it and I saw a revolver and a leather holster. And I looked at it and I could tell it was, a 38 special snub nose.
He just so happened to know everything. I'm sorry, but this guy is really burning me up. He just so happened to be the one who know everything about the body, everything about blood vessels and burns, everything about his mom and everything. And now he the only one. Nobody else seen the GUN. The GUN that disappeared, but he the only one can give an exact detailing description of this mysterious, unfound, unclaimed GUN. Oh my God, I cannot wait. I have to stop it so I can say what I've been trying to type. I was trying to type, I can't wait till the defense attorney get on his ass. Watch he burst into tears all of a sudden then. Okay. He gonna start crying then, even though we just saw this man sit here and give whole testimony about the fact, yeah, he's an expert on everything, but can't get a job or keep a job. Now, we just saw him sit here and give vivid description of what he saw on that bird paw. We just sat here and listened to him describe, basically picking up the skull, looking in the back of it because it's all burnt up, recognizing him for what it was and putting it back down, which we talking about now. Even if he didn't know then, we talking about his dad. Not a tear, not a upset, not a getting choked up, nothing. Watch how he doing the defense get up there. Okay, I'm not gonna pause for a while.
And didn't really think anything of it because, my whole life we've always had guns. So
this was in June of 2018.
Yes, this is like either the middle of June or the beginning of June, somewhere in there. So it was just a few weeks prior to my dad's death.
How much of the gun did you see?
I looked at it enough that that I knew roughly what type of gun it was.
Do you know guns?
I'm fairly knowledgeable. I can't name every single gun that's ever been made, but I know, the difference between, a rifle, a shotgun, and, a semi-automatic handgun and a revolver. And
describe this gun that you saw.
So I definitely remember it being in like a old leather holster. I can't really remember the type of handle, but it wasn't what you call a blue finish, which is that dark black color. It was more of like, nickel chrome type look.
Do you remember the handle or anything about it?
No, I don't remember the handle. Like I said, I don't remember the color of the handle.
For the jury, if you were standing outside those, what I call, again, the American doors, if you're outside and looking into where the couches and the ottoman and everything is, where your dad, where you would hang out and eat dinner.
Okay.
If you walk into the doors, tell the jury where this drawer or this dresser or whatever it is, where you found this.
So if I would have had my back to the door, the couch would have been right in front of me, and that piece of furniture would have been right here to my right.
When you found the gun, what did you do with it?
I didn't do anything with it
Did you
because
touch it, pick it up, move it, or just look at it?
I kind of maybe grabbed it enough to kind of like look at it, but I did not pull it out of the drawer because I had the AT&T guy in the basement with me. I didn't want to freak him out. But no, I never really fully picked it up and, looked at it. So yeah, that would have been the piece of furniture, the lamp there.
Talking about right here, this is Thrasher 226.
Yes, that was the piece of furniture that I saw it in on the top drawer.
All right, so this is the sliding doors coming in being on the right.
Yes, sir.
When did you start? Why did you start thinking about this gun? What made you think about gun, and who did you start telling about this gun?
When?
On the 5th.
On the 5th. So after, talking with her and, the comments that she's made previously, everything was just, I was getting red flags and all. And when I went down to check on the CPAP machine and the shotgun, after I checked the shotgun, I remember seeing that revolver. So I just wanted to go over and look to see if it was still in that drawer.
So on the 5th, did you go to see if that gun was there?
Yes.
And what happened?
So I went and opened that drawer and that gun was not there. And closed the drawer back, didn't look anywhere else. And I went back upstairs. And then on my way back upstairs, I noticed a drop of blood on the floor. It was smaller than a dime. And it was, kind of almost right there before you get to the stairway.
Right by the stairs at the corner there?
So I didn't want to bring anything up at that time because this, like I said, this is prior to finding my dad. And, I didn't want to be like, hey, there was I went to go see if there was a gun down there and it's not there anymore. But, back when I found it, Melody was gone. My dad was at work and I just forgot all about it. But for some reason that day when I went to go check to see if the shotgun was there, it reminded me that that gun was in that drawer. And just something told me to go just check to see if it was still there.
Did you, afterwards on the 5th, when law enforcement came, did you talk to them?
Yes.
Did you tell them about this gun?
Yes.
Did you tell them about the blood?
Yes.
Did you tell them about other things you found unusual?
Yes. Or her behavior and stuff like that. Yes.
And then you talked to law enforcement on July 5th, I believe, at the scene. Is that with
Yes.
Detective Cockendall in the vehicle?
Yes. So I sat in the passenger seat and I honestly don't remember who all was in the vehicle, but there was somebody in the driver's seat. And then I remember there was either one or two people in the back seat.
And then Detective Hayes is behind me. At some point the next day, I think you went and talked to him again.
I want to say it was him that night because
that night into the next day, down at the Freedom Precinct.
Yes, I don't really remember talking to Detective Hayes right there on the property. My memory that I think the first time I remember talking to him was at the Free Home Fire and Police Precinct.
So one time on the scene, and then talking to the detective at the precinct.
Yes, there was a lot of police officers and detectives and everybody out there, so I can't say exactly who I talked to at all from my knowledge, but I talked to a lot of different police officers.
So this time on Tim to evidence state's exhibit.
No objection.
So that's here now states 7. So it's S Ferris 7, S Ferris 8, and S Ferris 9.
Are there, Mitch?
Page those. Let's start with 9. S Ferris 9. Not 7 or 8, let's go to 9. On this one here, you see there's some text message between you and your dad on the cell phones.
Yes, I do.
Let's see, looks like on June 6, 2018, at the first one 109, 12:07 p.m.
Yes.
This is from you to your dad. Can you read what that says?
Okay, so he called some mix up. He will be there around 2.
And then, okay. Let's see the times. Let's start 112. So 6/6/2018, 9/18/36. You see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. It's from you to your dad, and then we're going to go upwards.
Oh,
All right. So let's start.
It looks like it's from my dad to me.
Yeah, to you from your dad. And what is that message?
DirecTV guys coming. Come here and let me show you the ISSR.
All right. Then
So, yeah.
from you to your dad, the next one up. What's that say? Starting with, did they
give you a time frame on when they will be here?
And then going up to the next one, looks like to you from your dad.
Yes, he responded before 12.
And then the last one there.
He called and some mix up. He will be there around 2.
And you thought it was AT&T. Could it have been DirecTV?
I believe AT&T and DirecTV are the
But this is
same
what you're
company.
talking about.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. It was to do with the satellite. So DirecTV is satellite.
This is SFARIS 7. This is something we've pulled in the case. Can you see the date time here at the top? Can you just tell us what that is?
2018, June 5th, time is 12:48.
And then the message contents, just read that for us if you would. He would reply yes.
Reply yes to confirm your DirecTV appointment at 6/6, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Reply no to reschedule. To stop receiving this message, reply stop.
Then SFARIS 8, this is a June 6, 2018 text from them. And the message contents.
Welcome back, OG Mucho.
Hello, we recently completed the DirecTV visit. If you're experiencing service issues, please reply or call 678-971-2219 to guarantee tech within 24 hours.
Were you running around repeatedly saying there's lots of blood down there, there's lots of blood down there, or anything like that?
I never once said that.
I want to juxtapose two points on June 5th and June 6th. So one is when you're at the scene and you're talking to law enforcement, and then June 5th going into June 6th at the Free Home Precinct when you talk to law enforcement.
You mean July?
Yes, excuse me, I'm sorry. July 5th and July 6th. The two positions I want to talk about is when you're at the scene and then you're down at the precinct, at what point did you learn that there was actually a bullet was found in your father's rib?
So we were there very, very late at night. I know it was probably close to 11, midnight or so. And they kept us in a kind of a conference room. And they brought us one by one back into another room individually. I don't remember who they brought back first and all, but by the time they brought me back, I believe it was Detective Hayes that was there with me. I don't really remember the details of what all was discussed at first. And then I was informed that they discovered a bullet lodged in the rib bone.
Do you remember Detective Hayes saying, I've got something I got to tell you? You remember how he broached that or told you about it?
I don't remember his exact words on how he did that because, once I was told that that was happening, that happened, my mind just went into kind of shock, I'll say.
At that point, did you suspect your mom?
Definitely.
Was she there with you at the precinct?
She was there in the room that we were all kept in at.
Who else was there?
Amanda was there. Possibly Chad, Bruce. I don't remember if Chris and Emily were there.
After you were told that, did you go out and talk to others about what you were told?
That night?
Did the other family members, were they told about the bullet?
I don't remember discussing that with them, after I came back out of the room.
What, did you ask your mom anything when you left?
I really don't remember if I did or not.
Afterwards, after July 6th, you couldn't go back to the property?
No, so, they informed us for us to go up to that precinct, and we were all, able to drive up there. We didn't have to ride in any squad cars or anything like that, but they did inform us that we were not allowed to go back to the property. So, from what I remember, Melody went and stayed with Amanda, and once we were fully released for the night, I left and went back up to the lake house because Ted was there and some other friends. So I knew I had somewhere to go sleep that night.
Afterwards, was there a splitting of the family afterwards? Like some went one way and the others went the other way.
Oh yeah, I mean, once we found out that there was a bullet.
Welcome back, Sean P. Glad to see you.
Obviously, he's been shot and then burned, and we all put the pieces together because my dad had no enemies. I never once met anybody in my entire life that hated my dad. So we knew somebody, wouldn't have come there. The house wasn't wrecked. I mean, there was nothing. Everything was adding up to us that it wasn't a robbery, and it wasn't anything like that. And, her history of, having affairs and doing all this shady stuff that she's done, and especially her making the comment, I can't wait for the day he's dead and I don't have to live with him anymore.
Did Amanda support your mom or support y'all?
So I remember for several weeks, it seemed like Amanda kept saying, well, he just had a heart attack and fell in the fire. And I was like, Amanda, how could he have had a heart attack and fell in the fire when they found a bullet lodged in his rib bone? And she's like, well, they could be lying to us. I was like, okay, well, if he had a heart attack and fell in the fire, why was everything gone from the fire pit? It's like the RTV would have been there, or the tractor would have been there. There would have been something. There was no indication to, especially to me, that he would have had a heart attack and fell into the fire.
So Amanda was not convinced?
She was not convinced on him being shot.
Was she supportive of your mother?
Oh yes. I mean, like I said, she was always glued to her side from the time I showed up over to the house and even after, and she was always with her.
Now afterwards, the property, the house, and the contents of the house and things like that, fair to say that your mother and you and things were having some problems or some arguments over the disagreements, if you would, over the property in the house and trying to sell it and whatnot?
Afterwards, yes. I mean, it was, she immediately after this was all about trying to get as much money as possible.
Was Amanda being a go-between between you and the defendant at times?
If I remember right, yeah, she was very much involved, and I remember all of us getting hit up about getting, having money handed over to her or something along those lines.
When you and your mom afterwards were trying to figure out what to do with the house, because I guess it went into the probate part, all the property basically was frozen. Is that right?
Yes, everything from, it seemed like the day of the 5th, they froze everything.
So the accounts and things like that?
Yes.
But on the 5th, was your mom going around asking who was on the bank accounts and stuff like that?
No, she was actually asking those questions before finding my dad. That was another, like I said, her behavior. She kept asking all of us, do you have access to the bank account?
At the scene while you're trying to find your dad?
Yes, man, this is like us trying to figure out where he could be.
Now, was it odd at times that your mom and you would have to talk and communicate after your father's remains were found? Y'all still had to deal with the house and try to deal with that aspect. Did y'all communicate somewhat on that?
Yeah, man, we were, I guess we went into kind of a survival mode, trying to figure out how to take care of everything. And because, we had, a lot of animals we still had to feed and keep lights on and stuff like that.
Just this time, I seem to evidence S. Farris 5.
No objection.
Excellent.
This again is the Cellbrite. What I want to look at is if you can turn to page 2, number 3. So you see how at the top, when you go, it's from and to, so the first category here with the number is from your mother to you. And does that say, how early can you be home to help me get barn cleaned up? People are coming at 6:30. Did you see that?
Yes.
And what is the date of that one? Timestamp there.
4/8/2019.
So y'all were still communicating after the fact of what to do with the house. Is that right?
Yes.
And page 4, let's go to number 9. From your mom to you. And there's a text message about goat is having a baby. Do you see that?
Yes.
And that was in April of 2019.
Yes.
Did you still have to take care of the animals and things like that?
Oh, yes.
Was anybody else there helping you take care of the animals?
No.
Were you still staying in the barn at that time?
Yes, I was.
I'm going to go to page 9. On 28 there, do you see some message from your mom to you? That's April 19, 2019. It says, people come to look at house. Said barn apartment was filthy. Pooping floor smelled so bad. Other realtor took pictures. This is beyond, I think she was trying to say unacceptable. You see that?
Yes.
And then the 29th message we have here on April 19, 2019 at 1:47, you replied to it. And what did you say?
On the 29th.
See right here?
Oh, yes. That is bullshit. What's unacceptable is our father being murdered.
Did you find that your mom was saying things to you that you believe were not true, or saying to other people things that were not true
Oh, absolutely.
about how you were handling the house,
Yes.
what you were doing?
Yes.
How bad did it get? Did law enforcement ever get called on you?
There was a lot of times that I was never told, but animal control kept being called. And what I picked up off from the deputy who came out from animal control, he kind of acted like it was possibly a neighbor trying to get the animals. So that was the most occurrence of, somebody from the Cherokee County coming out.
Did animal control ever come and take the animals away from you or write you up or lock you up or anything like that?
No, sir. Every time they came out, they said, I showed them, their feed and, their hay. I walked them around. They looked at all the animals and they're like, yeah, there is nothing wrong. All your animals look healthy. And
did you know whether or not it was your mother behind that?
No, I do not know if it was her.
Was it during this time that we see here there was disputes going on?
Yes.
Now, this is page 12. It's number 40 on this extraction. It's from you. Now, you've got mother too. I guess she had different numbers. Is that what you put it in?
Yeah, by that time, she had to get a new cell phone because Cherokee County had her other cell phone still.
Did your mother, the defendants, start asking about money and paying things and stuff on the cars and whatnot? If you would, read this message for us that on April the 3rd, 2019, from you to your mother. What does it say?
I have been giving Amanda $200 every month for insurance. I have it documented. She sent me a text last week saying she canceled the insurance on the Toyota. The lies need to stop because we are not falling for them. Just how we know you're now going around Tennessee telling everyone that Chris and I will get into fights with Daddy. You want to talk about a disappointment. How about you filing a false police report against me? We are not stupid and we are not falling for your lies.
Got pretty bad between y'all?
Yeah, so the whole police report thing, I believe it was after I came back from my grandmother's funeral. I was contacted about meeting with a detective in Woodstock Police Department. Later to come out, the reason why I had to go to Woodstock is because since Cherokee County was handling the investigation with my dad, they could not get involved with this one. Well, I found out the police officer I talked to, he said that Melody filed a report that I threatened to kill her, just like how I did my daddy. And
this is all after the fact, right?
yes.
So is it fair to describe that as soon as you were after finding your father, the family was together for a little bit, and we've heard about the attorney. I'm not going to go into too much of that, but y'all then went and things separated. You, Chris, and Emily went this way, and Amanda went with your mom. Amanda and Chad Bruce went with your mom went that way.
Yes, that's correct.
Fair to say that y'all were close together, not pointing fingers or anything like that, but then the time went on and it just branched out.
Yes.
Father and father, the gap got wider and wider.
Yes.
But there were still, like on page 18 of this report, number 64 and 65, kind of an odd setting because you still had the house, and there's a message from you to her, 5:07 on May 21st, 2019. Did you leave the door unlocked? Do you see that message? Number 64 there.
Yes. Did you leave the door unlocked?
She replies and responds by saying the key is under the front row. You see that?
Yes.
So at times it could be, I guess, amicable, but would you describe it as just odd and weird afterwards? Just how y'all had to interact at times?
Yeah, I had to be very careful because I knew with her aggression towards us, because there were several times that, if something happened that she didn't like, she would come up and start yelling at me and threatening me and stuff like that. I believe I talked to Detective Hayes, and he was the one that informed me that, the memo recording on my phone, I'm able to do recording. So if I had it, any kind of interactions with her, I can record it, and at least there will be some kind of audio documentation of it.
Now, tell the jury again, who was Chad Bruce?
Chad Bruce, prior to this, was dating my sister Amanda.
Are they now married?
Yes, they're now married.
Is he close to your mom?
Oh, yes, very much so.
Did y'all have a time after this that y'all had an incident in the roadway outside the property?
Yes. So, after all this happened, I knew I had to go find some work. I did mainly kind of like under the table type work. I didn't go get a full blown job. I was trying to bring in as much cash as possible.
You working in a nursery or something?
Well, that was, I didn't immediately start working at my friend's nursery. I actually went and worked for somebody who I knew who had a landscaping, cutting, lawns and stuff like that.
But at some point, you and Chad had an incident in the.
Yeah, so I came home from working all day, and I pull up and I see Amanda and Chad at the driveway. By this time, we were locking the gate. And they were standing there, and when I pulled up, Chad started threatening me and cussing at me. So was Amanda. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I was being yelled at and cussed at.
Is Chad what?
Do y'all happen to notice that when he said that in the court gallery, it seemed like they started whispering out loud and stuff? They started talking or chatter started happening in the court. Did y'all hear that?
Was he aggressive with you?
He was definitely yelling and all. I stayed in my vehicle, but he never came like charging at me.
Sure, no fisticuffs or anything.
Yeah, nothing like that. But he was yelling and cussing and calling me a piece of shit and all this stuff. And I was trying, when this was happening, I was trying to hit the record button on my phone. And I somehow, I'm keeping my eye on him and trying to hit the record button on my phone in my lap. And I somehow wound up calling my buddy Justin. And all I hear is hang up, call 911, hang up, call 911. And I was like, okay, so I did that and I called 911. And by the time 911 got on the phone with me, Amanda and Chad were in their vehicle. He pulled right up next to me and he was cussing and yelling at me. So you could definitely, if you have the 911 recording, you'll be able to hear him.
So the tension was spreading to other people too?
Yes, I mean, him, Chad and Amanda, pretty much within a month after of this happening with my dad, they became fully against us and accusing us of stuff.
Scott, I don't really have much more. I have a couple more topics, and then I'm going to sit down and let the defense ask you some questions. I want to ask you about Rusty.
Okay.
At what point did you learn about Rusty?
It was sometime around not Amanda, but Emily's wedding. I know it was brought up that it was odd that Melody wanted to have him there at the wedding. I don't ever really remember meeting him as a child. I remember meeting his dad and also, Martha Jane. Less than a handful of times we went and saw them through our childhood. So I don't remember Rusty.
Yeah, so Scott, what I want to know is on July 5th of 2018, was Rusty Barton even in your mind when this was going on?
No, not at the moment, no.
Did you learn more stuff after the fact?
Oh, yeah, man,
But
more came out.
But your dad didn't know about Rusty Barton?
Yes.
How do you know he knew about it?
I knew at one point, my father sent me a text message saying along the lines of the girlfriend of Rusty Barton that your mother's having an affair with contacted me. I don't remember, what the rest was said in that text message, but I knew by that point he was aware of Rusty.
Your dad got a message about Rusty?
Yes, from what he texted me, he got a message from a woman that he was dating, apparently.
So the girlfriend of Rusty?
Yes.
This is S-Fair 6. I tendered yesterday. It's in evidence, and I want to go to, do you remember talking or texting with your dad exactly what the language was about Rusty?
I would have to see this kind of recap my mind.
Look at S6, and for the record, I re-tender it back into evidence, but this is number 23. It's your dad's sale from him to you. It's October 20, 2017 at 9:19 a.m. Do you see that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Your dad sends you a text. Read that into the record for us, please.
The girlfriend of her boyfriend, Rusty Barton, sent me several disturbing emails last night. She is spending a dime of my money.
We'll go down to the next message, 24. From your dad to you, October 20, 2017. What does your dad's message to you say?
Things will change dramatically. You need to pursue a job soon.
That was in October 2017, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Scott, I want you to look at the jury and answer this question. Did you murder your father?
I absolutely did not murder my father. Without a doubt, I loved him.
Look at me. Did you have anything to do to help your mother dispose of and burn your father?
Absolutely not.
Tell them, not me.
No. Like I said, I love my father. He was the backbone.
Welcome back, Lou.
He was the glue to our family.
Is that further questions you want?
All right, time to take a break.
Take 15 minutes.
Cry, baby. I'm sorry. I'm so insensitive to this guy. I have got to be more professional. But welcome to the Lit Lane Jury Box. We have been described as unapologetic, boisterous, intelligent. What else we've been called, y'all? What else we've been called? A little bit impatient, opinionated. Okay. So when you walk into this trial watch, put on your seatbelt. That's why we call it the Lit Lane Jury Box. Okay. All right. So no, he was. No. Nah, he was the money in your pocket. He was the ATM to the family. Not look at me, child. I guess $3 bill, without a doubt, child. Please. And here go mine. Boy, boo. Went to say, child, ain't nobody. I don't know who cried faster, him or Chris. I think he cried faster as far as he cried for half a second, a millisecond, But I don't understand why is even people, I don't understand like how y'all, and I say y'all, right? But I'm just talking in general. How people or anyone can think that he worked alongside with his mom, right? Or like they was in on it together. How could that be the case when he's steady throwing her under the bus? And quite honestly, when I on the chat that's with this video that I got closed down, I actually saw somebody say, I think he in on it with his mom. I don't get that. Unless that was part of his master plan. And does he look like a master planner? You know? Unless the plan was, okay, me and mom went into this together, but I'm a flip on her and throw her under the bus. Unless that was the plan. I don't know. But let's go ahead through the magic of YouTube and fast forward. And the cameraman did such a horrible job of putting the camera on him when they asked him the $1 million question. You know what I'm saying? That camera should have already been on him. So bad job, cameraman. Let's go. All right. Here come the defense attorney. Don't let us down. Yeah, it's a bumpy ride in this jury box, baby. But thank you for joining, everybody. I love this attorney.
Design an articulating mount that rotates.
Oh, gee, say from the way mama been looking at him on that stand, she looked like she been thinking I should have went to sleep that night. You mean the night they produced him? Girl, she should have stayed asleep. She should have been put the daddy down in the basement. But all these kids, okay? I would love to hit a link one day. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I definitely got to start dropping the link a little more. You know, I'm supposed to be doing that. But by the time we finish at nighttime after 9 something, I don't be thinking about it. But we will do, I think, like one of them days we need to do like a Friday where we talk about the case. I mean, about the just drop. I don't know. We're going to add it. We're going to add it.
No, because if y'all are like me, you don't want your Chick-fil-A sandwich to sit on that pickle for too long.
What? They so country. State of Georgia versus Melody Farris. Cross-examination.
Good morning, Scott. My name is John Luke Weaver, and I, along with Michael Ray, represent your mother. I want to start, and a lot of this stuff you talked about yesterday, but I do want to talk, I want to go back in time a long way to your childhood. And I want to kind of go through that and work our way up in time from there. So you were raised where?
From the time we lived in Birmingham or Alabama to
Your first memory, where did you live?
my very first memory, I vaguely remember living in Tuscaloosa, but majority of my childhood memories living in Birmingham, over in Hoover.
That's where you, in your mind, that's where you really grew up. Was it?
Yeah, I mean, I was there all through elementary school.
All right. And so I kind of want to talk about how everybody was in the family. I mean, the family has kind of become a critical part of this case, as you know. So I want you to tell the judge or the jury kind of your perspective on everybody. So tell me about your older brother, Chris. Growing up, what was he like?
Growing up, him and I were very much involved in baseball, and we played a lot of spring ball, summer ball, fall ball. I mean, baseball we were consumed with. And, you know, my brother and I will always help my dad do projects around at that house there. I remember helping him build the back deck. And
So y'all played baseball, so you tall guys. Now, what position did y'all play?
we played a variety of different positions.
Pitcher?
At one point, I was a pitcher. Played a lot of outfield. I don't really remember what all my brother played because we were never on the same team because he was older than me. But you know, I've been shortstop, first base, pitcher, outfield.
You play in school for the high school teams?
No, I did not play baseball in high school. Once we moved to Georgia, I really didn't want to play anymore because I didn't have my friends anymore that I used to play with.
Lost those connections.
Yeah, in a way.
Also, too, the coaches didn't know you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, we moved to a new town, new neighborhood, didn't know anybody.
Who was better at baseball, you or Chris?
I mean, Chris, maybe. I don't know. I mean, him and I used to be in our backyard and practice pitching and throwing, and we would do the same with my dad. So I really don't remember, watching him play.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I would have to say, we're probably equal.
And in Birmingham, that was when you guys, I mean, basically through all of your growing up, you guys shared a bedroom, right?
Yes.
Bunk beds, how did that work?
We had 2 twin beds in the room.
Just side by side?
Yeah, one on one side of the room, one on the other.
All right. And that was from your earliest memory to moving to, I believe, the Hampton Hall neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so tell me about that. Did Chris ever get in trouble? Which one of you two was the mischievous one? Somebody had to be. 2 brothers.
I mean, yeah, we always got in trouble for something. I mean, nothing really stood out to, that will stick in my memory for sure. But I mean, yeah, we got in trouble like any, boys would that were,
Okay.
This is before cell phones and internet and all that. So, we were out, actually playing like, kids did back then.
Old school.
Old
I think
school
that's
way.
the word you use. You're old school.
Yeah.
Okay. Like your dad, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, but of the two of you, I mean, I've got 2 sons, and I got a mischievous son, and then I've got one who's basically always pointing the finger at the other son. But can you say of the 2 of you, which would be the more mischievous of the brothers? Just pick one. How about that? Who was getting in trouble more growing up with your dad?
Well, that would probably be Chris because he was, older than me. Once I got into middle school and he was in high school, we didn't really do things together. He had his own friends and stuff. So him and I weren't hanging out all the time like we would when we were younger in Birmingham. We just, we got older. Take for instance, I mean, like right now, my fiance, she has an identical twin sister, and they talk every single day. My brother and I don't do that.
But back then, and so your answer would have been Chris got in more trouble than you.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I would have to say that. Man.
What's so hard about this question?
Be kind of
riddle me that.
I will get in trouble for one thing, and he will get in trouble for something completely different. I mean,
so would you
we just had a lot. We had, kind of strict rules, and.
But what do you mean by that? Strict rules?
I mean, our parents weren't soft on us, so if we did something wrong, they let us know.
That was both of you.
Yes.
And the girls too?
Didn't do much good, I say.
The girls younger, but they weren't as hard on Emily and Amanda as they were Chris and I.
All right. So, of the 2 parents, what you got to give me some examples. How would they discipline you?
Oh, my dad, he would, fuss at us and, explain what we did wrong and everything like that. I have more memories of Melody hitting me. Spanking me with a belt, eventually upgraded to, I've been hit by spatulas and I've had things thrown at me. I do remember we were living in Birmingham in the girls' room.
No. Going into something that happened wherever, whenever, forever ago.
Right. So the girls growing up.
Thank you, Judge.
They were raised a little differently than you and Chris?
Yeah, man, they weren't treated like how, Chris and I would. I mean, they're girls. And I mean, there's a difference between girls and boys do, get into more mischief than what girls would.
All right. So kind of, not to say that this is the case, but if you could rank for each parent growing up, who do you think was the favorite and who do you think was maybe the least favorite of the children? So for your mom, we'll start there.
So my mom's point of view, who was the most
Who
favorite?
was the favorite? Who was the least favorite?
She definitely favored Amanda more.
Okay.
And then Chris, she favored more. I was a middle child. So, Chris was her first baby, and then Amanda was the baby. So
That was her top two.
Yes, from my perspective, yes, those were her top two.
So who would have been the least favorite?
I mean, they never treated us like, any of us were like the outcasts or and all, but
That's not what I'm saying. I'm just from your perspective as a child.
I just remember, Amanda and Chris kind of got, treated a little bit better than, they got better birthday presents and got more attention in a way. And I'm not saying Emily, didn't get that and all, and I didn't get it because, my dad always made sure that, all of us were treated, kind of equally.
Okay, so on your dad's side of things, who would you say his favorites were?
Both the girls.
A little bit harder on you and Chris?
He was just, he put more discipline on us.
Right. When you use the word old school multiple times. You've been interviewed for this case about 6 times, and you've been testifying now for about 6 hours. And you use the word old school a lot. What did that mean?
Old school is, he never coddled us. He made sure we got out and did yard work and we got our stuff done. I remember growing up, we couldn't go play with our friends until we got our chores done.
He held you accountable.
That would have been Melody more.
Okay, well, I was saying he held you accountable.
He just, he definitely got us involved on, doing stuff like that. So it wasn't, work came, get work done first before play.
And you mentioned that growing up too, there kind of was a little different standard with the girls. Amanda got a brand new car, and I believe you got a 1991 Silverado.
Yes.
What color was it?
Black.
Okay. So you moved to Atlanta in 95?
Yes, sir.
Right. What do you remember about that move?
I remember coming over. We stayed a lot at the Renaissance Hotel down in Atlanta, which was right next to my dad's, law firm. That's where they wrote.
Where was the firm back then?
It was like,
that was before Atlantic Station was built.
Yes. It was, catty corner to the Varsity.
Okay.
So it was right there. So you had, at the time, I think it was South Trust building, and you had the Renaissance Hotel connected to it. So that's where we stayed at while they were looking for a house.
At the hotel?
Yes, we would stay there.
And were you happy about the move?
I wasn't crazy about it because, like I said, I had all my friends in Birmingham. I had my best friend Kyle that we went fishing every single day in the lake that we had in the neighborhood, and I used to go to hunting camp with him and his dad. So I had all my, my friends there, my best friends, and I was moving to an area that I didn't have any friends, didn't know anybody.
So, Emily has been kind of noted as the brain of the family, like of the 4, right? The smart one?
Yeah.
Okay. So how were your grades growing up?
Oh, I was not the best student. I wish I got my dad's brains on book smart and all, but I always
bet you do.
In school, just because I would get very, I'll lose attention. I'll get bored or something and wander off in my mind. And I graduated, but I was nowhere near the top of my class. So, I mean, school wasn't my strong suit. I'm more of a hands-on person.
Okay. How did that go with your dad? Was he kind of upset with you about your grades and how that went growing up?
No, he always helped me. He tried to help me, with homework and, try to improve my school. I mean, he was always going over homework with me and, grabbing my textbooks and, helping me out, basically kind of tutoring me.
When you moved to Atlanta, did you have any opportunity to ever meet Angela Phillips?
I've pretty much known of Angela my entire life. That was my dad's legal assistant. So as far as I can remember my dad working for the law firm, she was the legal assistant.
Okay. And when did you find out about the relationship that your dad had with Angela?
I never knew about a relationship with her.
Have you ever heard about it before?
Nope. This is the first time I'm ever hearing this.
So you graduated high school, what, about 2000, 2001, somewhere in there?
Yes, sir.
Which one?
2000, well, it was after 9/11 that I graduated. So it was my senior year of 9/11 happened.
So that would be like 2002.
Yes.
Okay. So, and you joined the
I had to pause it right here because do they not allow for the witnesses? Like, do y'all think that they told the different children, hey, until each of you testify, y'all not allowed to speak to each other? Do y'all think they did that? Because if they didn't do that, what's the chance that Chris didn't tell Scott? You know, they said Daddy was cheating with Angela. You know Angela? Yeah, her. He said that's the first time he ever heard about it was just then on the stand. And if that's the first time he ever heard that his sainted father actually had an affair with none less than Angela, the secretary he didn't know all his life, and it's the very first time he ever heard that, they don't know what the truth looked like, okay? They wouldn't know the truth if it hit them in the top of the damn head.
infantry in what, 2008, 2009?
Yes, sir. It was, I started out, I went to the recruiting office in the early 2008, I think it was.
Well, let's back up. What did you do between 2002 and about 2008?
So when I was in high school, like I said yesterday, I was on the work program. I worked at Jiffy Lube, so I did oil changes and stuff like that. Once I graduated from high school, then I went and worked for Tires Plus, and then several other mechanic shops for several years. And then,
So you say several. Why were you changing jobs so much?
trying to make more money and all. I mean, mechanics at mechanic shops is kind of like, barbers and stuff like that. It's rare if one stays at one location for a long period of time. Also, a lot of mechanic shops, they got their master technicians and you can't really go anywhere. So you go in as like a lube tech, which just does oil changes and brake pads and stuff like that. So whenever I found an opportunity to gain, a higher job experience, I would try to take advantage of it and make more money.
Did you ever attempt to go to a trade school or anything like that? Get an extra education?
I thought about trying possibly going to linear tech and going into the automotive. But once I got into working on cars and all, I realized you really didn't need it. It's better just hands-on training. You learn more that way. There was a lot of people who worked in that industry that didn't have a degree hanging on the wall that was making decent money.
So it'd be fair to say during those years, and I think I'm taking your words from one of your interviews, that, prior to your military service, you didn't have purpose at that point in your life.
I didn't really have a career job.
Right.
I mean, at that point, no, I didn't have a job that I knew, oh, this is what I'm going to stay at this company for the rest of my life and retire from here. No, I was still young, really didn't know where I wanted to, which direction I wanted to lean into. So, and at one point, I decided I just, instead of working on cars, I went towards selling cars to see how that would be. And so I started selling cars.
Okay. Where were you selling cars?
My first job was at Gossett Volkswagen, right there, kind of Roswell, Alpharetta, off of Mansell Road. We sold Volkswagens and Bentleys. I then left from there and went to Regal Nissan, which is the next exit down Holcomb Ridge. That was more family owned. Loved working there. Did great there, sold a lot of cars, made a lot of money.
About what year was that?
This was around 2005, I want to say, that I was working there. Because when my grandmother had her heart attack, I had to have open heart surgery, I was working there.
And that would have been before you went into the military?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what, about 07, 06, somewhere in there?
Yeah, about in that time frame.
All right. So you were living at home with your parents still, correct?
At that time, yes.
At that time? So from 02 to 08, you lived with your parents from graduating high school to 08?
No, I did move out for a little while. I lived with some friends and.
Like how long would you say is a little while?
Not even a full year.
Okay. Were you the only one of the 4 siblings that stayed at home after high school? Now, Chris testified he moved to Maine.
I mean, we all kind of stayed home, came back home a little bit. I think Emily was the only one who really, stay as long under our parents' roof as, the rest of us. But we all kind of, once we graduated high school and we were in and out of the house.
But of those 6 years, you spent 5 of them at home between going to the military and graduating high school.
Yeah, majority of it, yes. I was living under the roof.
So tell me about what was the status of your parents' marriage back then? Actually, what was it like when you were growing up? Was it were they loving?
To me, it seemed like a very happy, normal family. I mean, I don't have any, especially don't have any memories of us living in Birmingham of any conflict whatsoever. And even after we moved to Atlanta or Alpharetta, it was several years and didn't notice anything until I started hearing rumors from kids in the neighborhoods about my parents.
John, the people in the kids was talking about that his mama was a slut.
So after high school, you're living at home. Were you noticing any issues, or was it still just normal?
It still kind of seemed normal. I mean, there was nothing that stood out to me.
All right. Did you ever? How about during those years? Which one of the parents did you spend the most time with? Your mom or your dad?
I mean, obviously it would be my mother because she was a stay-at-home mother. So she was there. My dad was always at the office Monday through Friday. So, but
is that when y'all started kind of? It seems like you guys both had an affinity, an affection for yard work, and working with your hands.
Yeah, that's always been. It seemed like my entire life.
So back then, even would you and your mom do stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I mean, we all got out and worked in the yard.
All right. And it sounded like when your grandmother, Miss Walker, had her heart surgery, that you went over there with your mom
Yes.
and stayed for a long time.
Yes, there was quite a period of time that we were up there.
So of the two parents, and I know everybody always gets asked a lot of questions, This is a serious case, so I have to ask a lot of questions.
Mhm.
But back then, and even through, I would say, 2018, I'm just asking, which one of the two parents did you spend the most time with?
Well, it still would have been her because my dad was working. So I helped her with the situation of my grandmother. So I believe, Emily was in college. Amanda, at the time, I think she was in
He
college.
can't just
too.
say his mother.
Chris was
It's impossible
doing
for him to
his
say it.
thing. So, I was the one that, was really able to help her, with the whole ordeal of my grandmother. So, I was around her the most out of the two.
Y'all are close.
Yeah, we weren't best buddies, but she was my mother and I was there to, help her out with everything that was going on.
Right. I mean, you now refer to her exclusively as Melody.
Yes.
And you started doing that in 2019, and you've been doing it ever since 2019 into 2020. But even when you talk about her past tense, you use the word "my mother," talking about her back then.
Yeah, she acted like a mother. She was my mother, and the reason why I don't like calling her my mother now is because the way she treated me after all this started. And then once it came out that my father was murdered and her actions prior to him being murdered, she tore our family apart.
So why did you decide to go into the Army?
So once I noticed things were happening between her and Ted, and that was going on, my father actually told me, you might want to pursue another job because I was in sales. I sold cars. The recession was coming on, the housing market crashing. He also did bankruptcy as well too. So he kind of said, hey, you might want to find a different job because things are about to get bad. So I knew I've always wanted to serve. I've always been an outdoors guy. I don't obsess over sports like my brother does. I'm more hunting and fishing and going out, being in the woods and everything like that. So I decided that I wanted to go and join the Army and just kind of restart my life over, get away from
That's the
trauma.
word, restart. That's the word I think you've used previously.
Yeah, just, I knew going into the Army, I'll be able to, get away from the situation that was starting to brew up.
What was that?
That Melody was having an affair with Ted Wiley.
What does that have to do with your situation starting to brew up? In your life, what does that have to do with your life?
I didn't want to see the drama and turmoil going on between my parents and this, and I had my grandmother.
So
in the hospital.
You're telling this jury that you joined the Army because you believed your mother was maybe starting to have an affair with Ted Wiley, and so you're going to join the Army, and it's not because you're bouncing from job to job to job in the mid-2000s and you don't have your own home. It's not, that wouldn't be why you joined the Army?
Oh, that's what we just said. We just said that.
There's a reason why I joined the Army. The stuff going on between, in my parents' relationship, and then also my dad telling me about, the economy going, and I started to see it. I wasn't selling as many cars and stuff like that. And, I just wanted to, it was my way of kind of going into how someone would go to college. They're getting away from the family and also I chose, the Army path.
So you were born in 1983.
Yes, sir.
And then you joined in 2008. So that would have made you about 25.
I was about 24 around then.
So a little older than the average person coming into the Army at that point.
Yeah, I mean, when I actually went through basic training, there was actually several people who were older than me, and some the same age, but yes, majority of them were, 19, 20 years old, fresh out of high school.
Sure. And where did you said yesterday where you did your basic? I didn't write that down.
Down at Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia.
And what was your report day on that?
My report?
Your first day of report. The date.
I don't remember the exact date. I remember my dad dropping me off at the recruiting office, and the recruiters took me by the car and took me down to MEPS down in Atlanta. I don't really remember the exact date.
And you testified yesterday that you actually remembered your mother crying when you were leaving.
That was when they dropped me off at the airport when I was flying back to El Paso to deploy to Iraq within 24 to 48 hours.
And that was in 2009, correct?
Yes.
Right. And your tour in Iraq, do you remember when that started?
It was in April of 2009.
Mm-hmm. How long were you on tour over there?
It was we didn't hit a full exact 12 months, but it was like 10 and a half months or so. Because I came back, I believe it was in May of 2000 I want to say March of 2010. So we were just shy of the year mark. I know we were close enough to the year mark that, we were allowed to put the 2 marks on our dress uniforms of a full year deployment.
And I've got to ask you some questions about that tour. And I know that I don't like to ask anybody about this, but in this case, you've mentioned some things that you saw. You mentioned that you knew what burned bodies looked like. So I need to know, you referred to yourself as a bullet catcher. So I need to know kind of some idea for this jury what you experienced in Iraq.
So on that deployment, I was part of a specialized group. It's called PSD, Personnel Security Detachment. And we escorted high-ranking officers, any celebrities who came out on the USO tour, because the base I was at, we had a building, the ziggurat is from the Bible, home of Abraham. So anybody who came out to entertain us and all, they wanted to go out and see it. So we would provide security for them. But majority of the time, we were going out and providing security for high-ranking officers, meeting with local leaders in Iraq, and escorting officers from base to base, make sure they were okay. We also escorted EOD and the bomb sniffing dogs. And we did a lot of security for different stuff. We even did prisoner transport. We would go and pick up prisoners off, Chinook helicopters and transport them to the jails that we had. And we just did a wide variety of security, and we also did patrols too as well.
So it would have been during the patrols that you saw the burned bodies?
Yeah, it's a third world country. I've always said to the people here who complain about this country, it's like, go to those countries. It makes you sick on the stuff you see. But yeah, I've seen bodies. I witnessed a dump truck flip over and crush a vehicle with 5 people in it and pancaked it.
Did it flip over because of an IED?
No, it flipped over because we were on a mission. We were transporting some top secret information, and a vehicle came up from behind. So the gunner on the last vehicle, he always pulled the 6 o'clock type, position. He got, whatever was coming up behind. So there was a car coming up. He flagged them to stop or whatever. Well, they got over onto the other side of the road, and so be it. A dump truck was coming up, and they both turned the same direction. The dump truck flipped over and landed right on top of the vehicle. and there was about 4 or 5 occupants in that vehicle, and it pancaked the vehicle. And it happened literally right in front of my truck. I had to slam on the brakes, and it was inches between the front of my truck and the dump truck that flipped over. That's how close it came from us wrecking. And of course, you know, I had to pull around to pull security, and my PC, the guy who sits next to me, he goes, "Do you see anybody alive in there?" And I looked down, and it was a gruesome scene. And I was like, I highly doubt anybody's alive in that. So, you know, we saw stuff like that. I mean, you see burning vehicles with people inside them. I mean, it's, my platoon got blown up by IED one night. We've been rocketed, mortars coming in. I experienced a lot.
Did you ever have to move any of those bodies?
No.
And in this action, did you have to take any kind of tactical training out in the field, or any tactical movements out in the field, and wherein you actually killed somebody in Iraq?
I can't confirm, you know, that I had somebody in my sights and I saw them go down, but there was some, it's hard to describe, talk to people who've never been in that situation. So I could say one thing, but yeah, y'all could think something different. You're not there. It's not what's on the movies. It's completely different.
Right now, all jokes aside and
And you've
everything,
experienced some PTSD.
I do
since
feel
that,
bad for
correct?
him, and I hate they kind of pushing him. I know he got to be
I didn't
pushed.
like being in crowded places. I just felt uncomfortable. But no, I never really had nightmares and, you know, nothing like that. The only problems I ever had was being in a very crowded area. I didn't like that. I didn't feel comfortable. And also loud noises. If like something big fell and made a loud noise, yeah, y'all might get scared, but my heart rate goes up a little bit more, because it brings back the time we got blown up. Because after that, it's still to this day, it still does it.
Did you seek any treatment?
No.
Did you ever think maybe you should have?
No, because it never controlled my life. When all that stuff happens, I just, especially like loud noise or something, I just take a couple of deep breaths and just calm down and go about my day. Don't really think about it anymore. Now I've gotten, it's been a long time since I didn't, I feel more comfortable now being in, very crowded areas. That all went away, once I was kind of back home. So.
And that was in 2010, correct? Is when you got back home?
Yeah, I got back from deployment in
Right.
2010.
And then you went to Texas after that, right? Or did I get
I
that?
was still stationed in Texas, so that was where I lived, and I, like I said, when I was deployed, I re-enlisted. It came up on time for my contract to be, extended, and I took the choice of getting duty station and re-enlisted, and I chose to go to Fort Benning with 3rd ID. That was the unit that was there. And then within a year, it was just a few months after getting back from deployment, I started the process of PCSing to Fort Benning.
Okay. What do
Okay, so we're gonna stop right here, right? And yeah, I do feel sorry for you. I do, at this moment in time, I do feel some compassion for him. Because regardless no matter what his motivators were to enlist, no matter if it's just because he didn't have nowhere to go, no matter. He still went and served his country. And I tried to type it in, but YouTube literally blocked my damn comment. I literally typed minutes ago, but I can still appreciate his service in any capacity. Trust. And for some reason, that comment got rejected. Right? So the compassion I feel for him, yes, he's a liar. Yes, he's lazy and trifling. Yes, he's a smoocher. Not a smoocher. I always say smoocher first, but he's a smoozer, right? Off of people. But he did still sign up. He did go over there. He was on the front lines. And that does affect it does affect those soldiers more than we can ever know, especially if we're not there. So I can definitely see, whereas he's trying to make what he did there spectacular, I definitely think he's putting 20 on 10, right? And making himself more important. But at the same time, I can't just sit here and say, oh, well, because he was the Army Uber driver, that he didn't go through some things, he didn't see some things, and he wasn't affected. But they definitely know he was in the service, because his Army record, and the whole family said. Silky Black said, I don't think he did it. So, with that being said, he wouldn't get pushed if he did use his. He wouldn't get pushed if he did use his military expertise when he called 911, right? So when he was pausing earlier, it was because he was emotional and trying to maintain his cool, or because he lying, or both. Both. You asking me? Oh Lord, Winter saying, child. Did somebody call me Little Miss Step 219 say, now Demetra, he just calling out the bullshit Scott was saying. Absolutely he was, right? But I think that's when I started feeling bad for him too. Besides just his service, I felt compassion for him, because at that moment, that might be like the only thing that he's really proud of, right? And that may be like the only thing he's ever done in life that gets him respect. Him saying and being able to say that he was in Iraq, he was on the forefront. No matter how much 20 on 10 today he put on it. That probably is easy for me to believe that that's the only thing that he has just done for himself that he can truly take pride in and also get respect back from. And then boom, right in front of the nation's eyes, as we watching it here, it's getting stripped away from him. Yeah, I felt some compassion for him. Oh my God, Somebody called me something. Oh, Demetra, aka Miss Benefit of the Doubt. Well, I still think he's a liar, and I still think he's the one who shot the gun. I still think he's the one who did it, along with his brother having been the mastermind. I still think he tried to vilify his mom all the time, and all she's guilty of being a hoochie. You know what I'm saying? Louis say it was the most comfortable conversation he had since I've been listening. He was in his bag at the time. Right, that's his thing. He saw the vessels in the burn pile. Come on. Right. And I don't be telling everybody to roll their eyes at me. Don't be telling me, child. I know y'all gonna let me make it. Went to say, but he would still be getting this line of question. Wait. But he still would be getting this line of questioning in this manner if he didn't use it to say he was an expert because of his military service. So, oh well, get him defense. Damn, I didn't know you were gonna say that at the end. Y'all thought on your eyes at me. Oh my God. Okay, on that note, you guys, it is time to do the Lit Lane jury poll, okay? So I need for you guys to let me know. You're not going to be judged. We're all entitled to our own way of thinking, freedom of thought, and speech. But I need for y'all to give me one, guilty or not guilty, if we had to place our verdicts tonight. If we had to do our verdicts tonight with no other testimony, what say you? Guilty or not guilty. Emma, now you gotta give me your verdict. Okay, I'm seeing the verdicts coming in. I'm seeing the verdicts coming in. Let me put mine. I see her trying to tip out. I'll start going ahead and reading it here. Let's see. What say you, Silky Black? Not guilty. Lady Steph, what say you? Guilty. Miss Steph 219, what say you? Not guilty. B.A. said, what say you? Guilty. Oh my God, it's like split down the middle. Trial watch with Demetri. What say you? What say I? Not guilty. Winter being difficult. I ain't voting on shit. I feel sorry because I can't vote. How about that? How about that? Lou A, I haven't seen, heard enough. I know we're not supposed to be doing the verdict until we hear all the preponderance of the evidence, but this is the little jury box, okay? So right now, if we took the votes, it's like literally cut down the middle. Let me see. Not guilty, 1. Guilty, not guilty. Guilty, not guilty. No vote. So right now, it would be a hung jury, and it would be 3 against 2 in favor of guilty. Okay, let me take a screenshot. And you guys have an excellent night. I will be back tomorrow during the daytime for the Lit Lane, for the trial watched by Demetri. We're gonna finish up the what they call them, the forgetful granny case. Okay. So make sure you tune in. Oh, now y'all want to put in votes. Now you want to put in the vote. Not guilty. Well, that make it tied. It's a hung jury. Okay. Living Lady Steph talk about, I thought we was on the same side. My. The Stephs are split. Y'all be blessed. Don't be stressed. You can handle the rest. I'll see y'all on another beautiful, glorious Friday. Good night.
Thanks for watching. Do not forget click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Like, comment and share. See you next time.